Welcome back to Icons of Change, the series where we highlight the individuals who have profoundly impacted society, shaping the world as we know it today. In this episode, we delve into the remarkable life of Emmeline Pankhurst, the British suffragette who was instrumental in securing women's right to vote. Her bold and courageous leadership, particularly through the Women's Social and Political Union, helped to redefine women's rights and create lasting change. Stay tuned as we uncover her journey, the struggles she endured, and the victories she achieved in her relentless fight for equality. This is the story of a woman who transformed her passion for justice into a movement that changed the course of history. Emmeline Pankhurst was born in 1858 in Manchester, England, into a family deeply involved in social reform movements. Her parents, who advocated for progressive causes like the abolition of slavery and the promotion of women's rights, greatly influenced her path. Growing up in such a politically active household, Pankhurst was exposed to the ideals of justice and equality from an early age, planting the seeds of activism that would define her life's work. Her passion for women's rights blossomed as she became increasingly aware of the systemic inequalities faced by women in society, especially their lack of representation in political life. By the turn of the century, the fight for women's suffrage in Britain had gained momentum, but it was still a largely non-violent and gradualist movement. However, Pankhurst believed that these methods were ineffective and too slow. In 1903, driven by frustration with the lack of progress, she founded the Women's Social and Political Union, WSPU, an organization that would dramatically change the landscape of the suffrage movement in the United Kingdom. The WSPU's motto, "Deeds, not words," signaled a clear break from more peaceful approaches, emphasizing the need for bold, direct action. Unlike other suffrage organizations of the time, the WSPU used militant tactics to draw attention to the cause. Pankhurst and her fellow suffragettes believed that traditional protests, speeches, and petitions were no longer enough to force the government to act. They opted for more confrontational measures: public demonstrations, hunger strikes, chaining themselves to railings, and even engaging in acts of arson and property damage. These tactics shocked many in British society and generated immense public debate, but they also kept the issue of women's suffrage in the national spotlight. Emmeline Pankhurst herself became a symbol of the movement, both revered and reviled, for her uncompromising stance. Her commitment to women's rights came at a personal cost, as she was arrested numerous times for her role in the protests. During her imprisonments, Pankhurst and other suffragettes engaged in hunger strikes to protest the brutal conditions they faced behind bars. The government responded with force-feeding, a painful and dangerous procedure that only furthered public sympathy for their cause. The image of women enduring such harsh treatment for their political beliefs galvanized supporters and gained new recruits to the suffrage movement. The suffragettes were strategic in their militant actions. Each act of defiance was designed not just to disrupt, but to draw attention to the injustice women faced. Newspapers could not ignore the suffragettes. The headlines were often filled with stories of their dramatic protests. While controversial, these actions forced the British government to confront the suffrage issue in a way that polite appeals had not. In 1918, after years of intense activism, the suffrage movement achieved a major victory with the passage of the Representation of the People Act. This legislation granted voting rights to women over the age of 30 who met certain property qualifications. It was a watershed moment for women's rights in Britain, a hard-won triumph that came after years of struggle and sacrifice. While the act did not grant full voting equality, it was a significant step forward, and Pankhurst's leadership was instrumental in making it happen. But Emmeline Pankhurst's fight didn't stop there. She remained committed to achieving full voting equality for women, continuing to push for the removal of property restrictions and age qualifications. Her tireless efforts finally paid off in 1928, just weeks before her death, when the Equal Franchise Act was passed. This act extended the vote to all women over the age of 21, granting them the same voting rights as men. The passing of this law marked the culmination of Pankhurst's lifelong struggle and was a testament to her indomitable spirit. Beyond her involvement in the suffrage movement, Pankhurst was also a passionate advocate for broader social reforms. She understood that the right to vote was only part of the battle for true equality. Throughout her life, she campaigned for labor rights, access to health care, and better education for women and the working class. She recognized that societal change had to extend beyond political representation and into every facet of life. Her activism laid the groundwork for many of the social reforms that would follow in the 20th century, particularly those that improved the lives of women. Emmeline Pankhurst's legacy is one of resilience, courage, and an unwavering commitment to justice. Her leadership transformed the women's suffrage movement into a force that could not be ignored, and her willingness to endure personal hardship for the cause made her a powerful symbol of resistance. Pankhurst's work paved the way for future generations of women to enjoy the rights and opportunities that were once denied to them. Her impact extended far beyond her own lifetime. Today, Pankhurst is remembered not only for her role in securing the vote for women, but also for her broader contributions to social justice and equality. Her story serves as a reminder of the power of collective action, the importance of standing up for what is right, and the necessity of perseverance in the face of adversity. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Emmeline Pankhurst, a true icon of change. Her story reminds us that the path to justice is often long and difficult, but with determination and courage, progress is possible. If you found this episode inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes in the Icons of Change series. Who would you like to see featured in our series? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to stay tuned for more inspiring stories of the people who changed the course of history. Until then, keep advocating for positive change and standing up for what's right. Up next, we'll be exploring the incredible life of Sojourner Truth.